Mr. Vineet Arora, if we could kindly please have you on stage, and it's actually my pleasure to engage in a fireside chat with you, sir. I'm truly looking forward to it. All right. So, Vineet, if statistics are to be believed, right, insurance penetration nationwide is shy of 5%, all right, primarily led by the life insurance sector. Okay. So, clearly, we're not where we could be vis-a-vis our global counterparts. How do you think about that? How do you respond to that? And as a brand at HDFC Life, how do you tackle that on an everyday basis? Because clearly it's an uphill battle, sir. But on the flip side of the equation, the sky's the limit.
Hi, thank you so much. Thank you for having me here.
Sure.
And I think the question about, how is our penetration in insurance doing for the economy? So as a percentage, yes, the insurance always looks like, we are only at 3%.
You know what, sir? Why don't we do a mic swap? Here, go ahead.
Thank you. Yeah. So, the penetration today is at about 3%, and that's calculated in terms of premium to GDP. And as Indian GDP has been growing, the life insurance has been keeping pace with it more or less. We grew better than what we were about 25 years back when it opened for privatization. And now I think more or less it's just keeping pace on a premium basis with this thing. But if you look at, various other parameters about the amount of sum assured, the amount of number of people who have been covered by life insurance, that has been growing dramatically. And that really makes us, very proud of the fact that we are reaching out to more and more Indians and making it happen. In fact, in the last 25 years, we have been able to insure so many Indians. In fact, the premium, I mean, just talk about the premium. When the privatization happened, the premium for the life insurance industry used to be in the range of about 35 to 40,000 crores per annum, the total premium. And now it crosses about 8 lakh crores per annum. So this significant amount of momentum which has gained, and this momentum has come in from the growth and innovation that has, come into the country thanks to so many players and thanks to, all of us really leading that way by, changing, having product innovations, having new channels of distribution, reaching much deeper in the country, and all these things are factored to that growth.
Sir, can we have a mic replacement, please?
So it's genuinely not working.
No, it's genuinely not working. Sir, we'll divide and conquer. All right, here we go. See, thank you. Thank you. Are we better? We're good? Okay, excellent. So, sir, you've outlined where we were and where we now are. All right, although that is incredibly heartening to hear. When we look at the insurance sector, sometimes it seems that trust and transparency are the leading bottlenecks. Now, against that backdrop, if you now introduce new age tech, right? If you now introduce risk assessment models that are driven entirely by artificial intelligence, right? Digital onboarding, new age technologies for which, yes, there is a euphoria, but there is also a layer of, okay, let's comprehend what's happening and let's chip away at our trust deficit. How do you then essentially imagine the trust and transparency vis-a-vis the insurance sector swing? Is it swaying for the better or is it swaying for the worse vis-a-vis new age cutting edge technology?
So I think 2-3 important points that you touched upon. One is how is technology really making a difference to the sector? How important is trust and how are we really, growing and building more and more on the trust? And there are two very separate. One is a lot more about logic, science, data, and how do we really, underwrite risk and things. And the other one is a lot about an emotional connect and the delivery that insurance gives as a product to the customer. So let me just first talk about trust and then how, even digital is helping us build more and more of trust.
Please, sir.
Yeah. So first is, I think clearly the products that we sell are intangible and a promise. And as, the years have passed and companies like us, have really delivered on those promises, the trust has really, built up again and again. And now, at this point of time, the top financial institutions, especially the ones in life insurance companies, are among the most trusted brands in the country. And when you talk about the brands that we have, and people, do trust that, yes, you will deliver to the promise of delivering to my family as a protection if some eventuality happens, or if I have saved for a long-term, savings for my retirement, I will get those benefits when I retired in a timely manner, in an accurate manner. The challenge which, sometimes have in a life insurance product, because of its long-term nature, they tend to become complex.
Right.
Because in that complexity, a lot of scenarios could arise, so somebody cannot pay a premium in a year, then he can pay it again, or some other eventuality can happen on the way, or he could exercise some options. So these make it complex. That's where technology really comes in trying to simplify and make it easy for the customer to understand what can happen in the future. And as we go along and, talking to our customers while, we are discussing their plans and their futures with them, we are able to show that through very easy illustrations. We are able to show them through very easy cash flows. What are they giving? What will they get? What will their family get? And what can happen at what points of time? And that makes it very clear to the customer that, what can I expect from a life insurance product? And I think this really helps us build a better experience with the customers.
Absolutely, sir. I think you've outlined it well, and you've really humanized the conversation around insurance. And speaking of doing so, in a country like ours, the urban-rural divide when it comes to insurance of all forms, right, life or otherwise, is staggering. And oftentimes the perception is that when my long list of necessities are met, then I will think about insurance, because insurance is a luxury and not a necessity. How in your everyday conversations, right, across India, do you chip away at that mindset, sir?
So one is, how do we really go deeper in the country when, as a company, we are also writing a lot of risk, because we write mortality risk. And as we go deeper in the country, the profile of the risk keeps on changing. And, and so we have learned a lot on the way, and we are learning more and more. But I would be proud to say that today, at HDFC Life, 70% of my new business, of the business, actually comes from Tier 2 and Tier 3 cities.
I think that deserves a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Phenomenal.
And that really goes to prove the power of the brand and how we have been able to, use technology and the digital reach to really go deeper. How do you really underwrite that risk is a lot of based upon, the data, the profiles, and also an innovation around the products. Because a product which is liked by an urban investor might not be the product which is really wanted or needed by a investor in a smaller city. And they might be looking a lot more towards, guaranteed returns, or even in a term product, they want return of premium. So when you say that, life insurance is not the first product that I want to buy, even though as a need basis, if I have any liability, I have started earning for my family, I must buy life insurance on day one. That's how any financial planner would come and tell us that, that's what you must do, because you might have to protect that need for your family. But people do postpone that decision. And that's where you need, trusted advisors who can go and talk to them and guide them on, how important this decision is. So a lot of term products, which are, purely protection products, are bought by younger and younger population, and they are buying it early. I'm also, we are also pleasantly surprised that nearly 10% of our products are today bought by Gen Z. And they also use a lot of digital platform to actually buy, after researching everything online, right? So it's something that has a need, an inherent need, and customers do really, want to buy it.
That's very validating, to hear that. It's incredibly validating. And so when we talk about a Viksit Bharat, which is essentially a developed Bharat, it's not just economic development, it's socio-economic development, right? And I think that lens is often overlooked amidst all the figures and the stats. It's socio-economic development. So looking at that, to what extent does life insurance help accelerate the financial inclusion agenda of this country? If you could walk us through what that picture looks like.
So I think bang on. And socio-economic development, I think life insurance perfectly fits in. Because it has an impact on the society, especially when there is let's say, an event of a tragedy which might have happened in a family. Just to give you an example, during the COVID times, the insurance industry paid more than 65,000 crores of claims. Last year itself, we paid more than 50,000 crores of claims. And all these claims have gone to the needy families who needed it at that time. When some breadwinner might have lost their lives, or some other eventuality might have happened, right? And that helps in creating that stability in that family and helping build that, the entire stability in the social platform that these families have. they can continue to live their life with dignity. And that's what our cash line also is, that, sir, utha ke jiyo is what we've been saying. So it helps, these families really maintain that life of dignity. And I think that's one great product which just helps the country a lot. Another factor I think I would just say is that it's not just about the claims, there's also a factor of long-term savings. And how these long-term savings and financial planning really help families, typical middle-class families who are aspiring to, send their children for good education or, some goals of buying a house, etc., build slowly onto that long-term savings and achieve those goals in time.
And so given that, this is a business conclave, right? If we were to look at the life insurance ecosystem purely through a business lens, what are the other countries or communities that, you admire in the sense that you believe that their ecosystem has reached a point of maturity and has become a blueprint that here in India we could emulate?
So I wouldn't want to name any single country, but because I think there's a lot to learn from various examples across the world.
Fair enough.
I think a lot of new startups in the West, especially US and all, started off with very niche segments of providing products in a very easy to buy manner for customers. Somewhere in the East, like there are some companies in China which build a lot of ecosystem around their products. So a lot of such examples are there. I think India has a unique approach. India has a very unique approach. We have, all the distribution points like banks, our own points, and maybe agents and, some corporates which also do life insurance and wealth managers. And they're all open architecture. So the Indian belief is that, you should have manufacturing and you should have distribution points which are able to offer choice to the customer. And through that, I think we have been able to build a very, very well-oiled, let's say, channel and intermediary machinery, which is able to give customer what he needs and give the best product to the customer. So I think that's a very unique method. Plus, a lot of technology has come in to make this process very simple and seamless in terms of, either it's underwriting, which is now so much more data-driven than what it used to be earlier. Earlier, every case, worth of salt would go in for medicals. Now, a lot of this work is done through data, and some of the cases go for medicals. So a lot of process changes have happened, and this has also, helped. The servicing side has also become very digital. So that's the uniqueness of India, that, customers are, even in the last mile, tier 3 towns, 91% of our actually servicing happens on our digital platform. People don't walk in for servicing to the branch.
You're right. You're absolutely right. And so when we talk about, a Viksit Bharat, one of the tenets is insurance for all by 2047. All right. So how realistic is that target? What's it going to take to get there? And as HDFC Life, I think you have a incredibly, heavy responsibility as the country's leading largest private insurer to play in that whole equation. So tell us more about that.
I think it's very much possible. I think it's very much possible, and I'm sure that we can all achieve that vision and the target of 2047 insurance for all. And why I'm saying that is, and my confidence comes really from the fact that as the banking sector has now moved and, got every Indian banked, that's the first major step for financial inclusion. And as that has happened, the next step of, adding protection as a layer on the portfolio of the customer is the next addition which is bound to happen. Just to give you some numbers, so let's say you need protection for the earning members, and that's the target segment for insurance, right? So, in a nutshell, you remove children below 18, you remove senior citizens, etc. A rough cut of population in India will be maybe 50-60 crores, who need to be covered. Today, there are some 33 crore policies already in the market. So even if a customer would have bought 1.5 as a ratio, maybe 1.8, we would have about 15 to 20 crores of customers, unique customers who have policies. We today have 11 crore active lives covered. So reaching that target for the industry, I think is very much possible. There is now financial inclusion, there is data available, there is reach coming in, technology is helping us go deeper. I'm sure this target will happen maybe sooner.
Sir, you've given us a lot to be optimistic about, and by way of closing comments, today you are as seasoned insurance professional, right? But if you were to look back to when you first started your career, 20, 30 years ago, what do you know now that you wish you knew then with respect to the insurance business?
With respect to insurance, So I think when I first joined insurance, I really didn't know what the industry was about, and the first few things, and I was among the first few employees who in the private industry. The only insurance I knew was LIC, and the first few plans that I bought were LIC plans, which I bought when somebody told me that you have to pay tax, so save tax. And
Sure.
And that used to be a pitch earlier. Today, the industry has evolved. We have learned a lot more. We have become more wiser. I think the innovation around products has really helped the industry. And personally, I think that's something which I would say that, when we are young, we have a lot of energy, but we don't understand, product innovation as much, and we don't understand risks as much. And as we grow, we keep on learning and doing this. So I think the journey has been great. We become wiser, all of us, and it's, I think there's a long way to go. We will continue to become wiser.
All right. And sir, one last and final question. When it comes to the insurance business, there's so much conversation on how much is going to change, right? Digital onboarding is going to change, right? The claims assessment process is going to change. Risk assessment models are going to change. Who opts for insurance is going to change. What's going to remain the same?
The need for insurance is going to remain the same. It's a pillar in anybody's portfolio, and that will always remain the same.
That calls for a huge round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. What a wonderful note upon which to close. With that, Vineet Arora, ladies and gentlemen, if I could please have Pooja Sethi, who's among us, I think, please felicitate our guests with a special token of appreciation. Sir, learned a lot. If we could have a quick photo op with our guest, please, and present him with a special token of our appreciation here at the etnow.in Conclave and Awards 2025 West Edition. Thank you, Mr. Vineet, and thank you, Pooja. Ladies and gentlemen, a huge round of applause once again.